Wow, how are we doing, people? It's the luckiest guy on YouTube. I'm out again. It's been about a week since I was out last, and bringing you to the party, you know, halfway through my little setup. I've put my tarp up, I've cleared my ground. I've got a little bit of a bump here that I'm going to lift my ground sheet up and kind of dig out, you know, because now's the time to do it. Last thing you want is to be tossing and turning all night because you're laying on top of a lump or something under your ground sheet. Going to try and light an 8-hour fire a little bit later, so I'll explain what that is for the uninitiated or perhaps people that haven't seen it before. That's it really, really kind of simple setup. I've set the tarp up at about 4.5, 5 feet off the ground, so I've got room to work and move under it. I've also set it up so that I can drop the back down. The wind is kind of coming this way at the moment, so I'm in a position to be able to drop the back down when it gets dark. I'll have my 8-hour fire here. I've built a kind of little bit of a makeshift reflector, so hopefully that will kind of oscillate the warm air into the tarp overnight. And that's pretty much me. So really simple setup, out for another 24 hours in the woods, and let's give you a closer look at the camp. That's going to make all the difference. So I'm not sure whether this 8-hour fire is going to come off, but very simply the idea is that you choose 2 logs 36 inches long and 1 inch thick for every hour that you want them to burn, and this 36 inches is per person. Then what we've got to do is trim off the top of the log, try and get down to some kind of clean dry wood. I've just picked these logs up from within the forest, from some other people that have had a campfire obviously, so I'm going to clean these off, try and get down to some good dry wood. When I've done that, I'll bring you back and show you how it all goes together. always put your kit away before it gets dark. Okay, you don't have to look too hard to find everything you need without chopping down trees and working like a slave. There is my bird's nest for my fire. Picking up the chippings from cleaning the logs is an excellent fuel. In this case, the top of the logs was wet, so I'm not going crazy picking it. Now with luck, that's about a 6-hour fire, so we shouldn't have to put any more fuel on it. If it catches, mate, that's going to see us pretty much through the night. Okay, so I'll just talk you through the tarp. I put the tarp up about 4 or 5 feet, so I've got plenty of room underneath it to, you know, kind of work and stretch out all the rest of it. I put it up straight and level for the time being, and I've used these sort of trucker's hitches to put the tarp up, just like I did before. And the plan is that from here, this evening, if the weather gets bad, I just drop the back down, peg it into the ground, and hopefully the heat from the fire will kind of oscillate underneath the tarp, and that'll be me. Just making a flask of hot chocolate, get us through the night. It's really mild. It's kind of 1st of November, you know, and normally it would be God, a lot colder, you know, but drop my hot chocolate just in case I get a bit cold or a bit peckish during the night. All I've done is boiled up a flask of hot water. Just put the boiling water in the flask, and I've just put a couple of hot chocolates in it. And then I'm just going to give it a good shake. Go. I've got about 750 mils of hot chocolate, mate. That's got to get me through the night very nicely. Well, the fire didn't quite last. I've had to put a couple of logs to kind of support it and keep it going. But luckily I've got a few to hand, so they'll get us through the night, no problems at all. I've just had a couple of cups of hot chocolate. It's really mild. I'm probably just going to sleep under a woolen blanket tonight and that will be peachy. I've got some kind of couple of chocolate bars if I get a bit peckish, and that's going to be it really. It's quite windy, you can feel the treetops really kind of swaying around, but apart from that it's another beautiful night in the woods. Wow, so it's about 9:45 in the evening, and the log kind of burnt through, so what I had to do was just lay some wood up against it, and I found a couple of logs that I've put right in the embers of the long kind of log, and that will probably carry it through to the morning. And I've got a couple of spare ones put to one side if we need them. But the wind is really picking up. You can hear it really tearing through the rooftops of the trees, and walking through the woodland on the way in, there was a tree blown down that I had to sort of stop in the truck and get the axe out and cut, and you know, kind of remove before I could drive in. And then when I was in the woodland, there were a few trees that have kind of come down, or limbs of trees that have blown down. So so yeah, something to be aware of for sure. I mean, there's nothing above me. Obviously I'm surrounded by half a dozen large trees, and you know, in the right conditions I suppose any of those could come down. So you know, a little to listen out for in the dark, but I'm here. The fire is lovely and warm. The tarp is kind of 45 degrees now behind me, sort of pinned into the ground, so that's absorbing the wind, kind of redirecting the wind over the top of me and the top of the fire. The heat from the fire is just kind of rolling, oscillating into the tarp. I haven't got my sleeping bag out yet, and my mat, and in truth I may not bother. I've got a wool blanket that I could throw over the top of me, and I think that would be you know, more than enough. It's not physically cold at all, so so it just depends, you know, how super duper comfortable I want to be. Wow, morning everybody. About 5:30 in the morning, I've just managed to kind of blow the embers of the fire back into life, and put some water on for a brew. Still got some hot chocolate left over from last night, so I'm going to have that now. I kind of had to get up to do some ablutions, so thought I might as well kind of spark the fire up and get the water boiling for a bit of breakfast. But now that's on, I think probably the smart money is just to sort of get back into my sleeping bag for you know, maybe another hour, just till you know, daylight proper comes up. The sun is coming up, you know, I'm sure we could see it just outside the woodland, but since we're in the centre of it, it appears a little bit darker than it actually is. But fire stayed pretty much all night, and like I say, I've just 5:30 in the morning, I've just blown the embers back into life, so all good, nothing bad. Get this hot water boiled, then I'm going to put it in the flask, and then of course when I'm actually ready to get up for real, I've got a hot drink on the go. So as I say in the old YouTube word, back soon. Get a bit of breakfast on.
Start of another beautiful day.
It's not until you walk round a beautiful little bit of English woodland, you know, on a beautiful kind of autumn morning, that you realise just how much management has to go on. You know, when I arrived yesterday, I was kind of busy setting my little camp up, you know, and I wandered around a little perimeter, let's say 20 or 30, 50 metres away, maybe 100 at the most. But this morning I've kind of stoked the fire up, ready for a bit of breakfast. I've walked around the perimeter of the woodlands and kind of welcomed this beautiful sunrise. But of course everywhere I'm seeing, you know, I'm seeing managed timber. I'm seeing trees that have come down in the wind and have been kind of made safe, and the lumber put ready for collection. There are bird boxes everywhere. This little bit of woodland is absolutely teeming with pheasant. You know, I've seen 4 this morning that have just really not paid me that much attention at all, and just carried on with their little morning routine themselves, you know. So it is beautiful to wake up somewhere like this, and I would turn around and say to you, potentially priceless. This is one of the places that we're going to be running the Chris Kane survival courses. So I'm here doing a recce, writing some instructions and orders, and a couple of our instructors that are going to help us out on the courses have caught up with me here, and they've had the walk round as well. So really looking forward to it. I think this is going to be Roach's office. How cool is that? Just tucked it in the trees out of the way. Well, the fire pretty much lasted me all night. You know, I blew it into life this morning, put a few sticks on it, and went to welcome the sunrise. And when I came back, my fire was there ready for my breakfast. That's breakfast. A couple of beautiful farm fresh breakfast sausages and a couple of eggs. First cup of tea of the day. Oh. Start of another wonderful day in the woods, people. Thanks for coming. The amount of people I see burn their breakfast to a cinder when they're in the field. The kind of trick is really to heat your pan up over your fire, of course, because there's no turning it down, and then take it off the heat, put it to one side, and just use the residual heat in the pan to cook your food. And that way you don't end up with really kind of burnt scabby eggs in the morning. You know, there's no reason because you're in the field that you can't cook the same sort of quality type food that you would have at home. Yeah, you just have to apply a little bit more care to it, you know. But heat your pan up till it's nice and hot, put your food in it, and then just move it off the heat. Cook your food with the residual heat in the pan. Yeah? Can't wait. Red or brown sauce, people? This is something I can't resist doing. When I'm in a restaurant or a cafe, I pick up a couple of these little salt and peppers. Absolutely brilliant for when you're in the field. It's probably because I'm posh. Okay, something else that I've been given recently. I was with Funky Prepper. He gave me this little kind of knife, fork and spoon set. Very simply, knife, fork and spoon, can and tin opener. Takes up no room at all, and I think even if I'd have had to buy it, it would have cost very little, if anything, you know, maybe a pound, you know, $1.50, something like that. What I tend to do when I'm in the field is, if I cook sausages or pork, bacon, you've got to make sure it's cooked properly. So unzipping your sausages, putting them face down in the pan, just give them that really kind of red hot searing heat. It just make sure they're cooked all the way through. You know, if I've got a mantra, it's, you know, if you get sick, you stay sick. So I think cooking your food through is one of the most important things when you're in the field. Sunday morning this morning, what I'm doing today is meeting the people that own the woodland, and I'll be walking them through what myself and Chris Kane Survival have got in mind for the use of this woodland, type of courses and activities that we're going to be running, all the sort of health and safety, insurance, legal requirements of doing this sort of thing. And they'll be saying yay or nay, and hopefully they'll be coming up with a price, sort of ballpark, so that we can start to work out how many people we've got to have on the courses to kind of make it pay, and all the kind of business back end side of it will start to get worked out. But this is another perk of me having something to do, or an involvement with Chris Kane Survival. There's going to be a lot more of this for Roach. Do love a cup of tea.
that was a very nice breakfast.
I like this system because this is one of the greatest things you can do with it. You can just sort of throw it back while you're packing up. The other thing that I like to do with my tarp or my kind of shelter kit is the bag that it goes in. I'll just hang on one of the guy lines so that when you come to pack it up, it's one of the first things to hand. I'm just going to throw this back so that I can get to all my kit and sort of stand up and easily pack it up instead of you know, crouching down underneath it. Obviously if the weather was bad, you'd leave it up to the last minute. The other thing is, it's a really good trick, roll your guy lines up from as close to the tarp or the tent as possible. And what it does is it stops them getting kind of twisted and tangled, and then when you get to the end, just a couple of half hitches around the end. Now they can pull undone still because of the way that they're tied. So I get the end, put it through the coil, just give it a tug, and that stops it coming undone. So now if we do have a sudden downpour and we're halfway through putting our kit away, tarp's still there, it's only a 2-minute job to cover everything back up again. But now we can stand up, we can pack our stuff away, make sure we haven't left anything behind, we're not crouching down underneath the tarp. So this is the sort of job that's a lot easier if you can stand up. I've just sorted out my sleeping bag. My sleeping bag's got these pockets inside that I put, you know, my mobile phone and my wallet and stuff like that in. You know, what I have done before now is I've packed everything up, put it in my Bergen, and had my car keys on my wallet still in my sleeping bag. So when I got back to the car, you know, you then got to kind of unpack your bag to find your car keys. Something I just want to share with you is how I modified my Gore-Tex bivy bag. So for anybody that watched the last film, I explained to people that it was a bit tight for me. Probably needed an extra, you know, maybe 6 or 8 inches around the chest and around my waist. So when I got home, got the sewing machine out, there was a kind of central seam right down the middle of the bag, and all I've done is just undone that seam and sewed in this gusset of wax cotton material that I had left over. The hood has still got the elastic in it, but now, you know, it's plenty big enough. I mean, the bag was a bargain at £1 because it was a bit tight, because it was a bit small. You know, you're probably looking at maybe replacing it. New bag will be well over £100, you know, $150. So if you've never tried it, you know, a cheap sewing machine from maybe a charity shop, a bit of old fabric, and just kind of have a go at it, you would be amazed at how much equipment you can repair or modify and just save yourself an absolute fortune. But this is my now 10 inches more rotund Gore-Tex bivy bag. The only problem with a long fire is you do get a lot of residual heat, and what I've done with the major logs is I've taken them out, put them on the track, and there's a little pond on my way out, so I'm going to dunk them in the pond just to make sure there are no live embers. I'm going to be digging this ground over until there's kind of no residual heat left in it, and that may be maybe an hour or so. So I'm going to be checking back from time to time before I leave, just to make sure that this is cold and finished. To put out a long fire, you'd really need, you know, several gallons of water, which I don't have. So like I say, I'm digging out all of the timbers with live embers, put them on the track, and I'll be dunking those in the pond on the way out. The ground I'm going to dig over, leave exposed, pop back every maybe 15 minutes, half an hour, and as soon as it is cool to the touch, still quite warm, then I'll be moving out. These are the logs that I'm going to be dropping off and dipping in the pond before I leave. They've still got kind of residual heat in them, as you can see, and the rest of the fire has pretty much cooled down, and I'm well on my way to my move out and leave no trace. So this is what I mean about your guy ropes on your basher. So take them from the top, just wrap it around your hand, gather in the whole of the guy rope until you've got a nice tight wrap around your hand. As you get towards the end, what we're going to do is just put a couple of hitches on it. So just take a bite in the rope, turn it on itself over your rope, and then just pull it tight. And you're looking to do several of those, so let's say we're going to do kind of 3 or 4. And then push your finger through the top of the kind of spool like that, and then the live end we're going to pass through. And what that ensures is just ensures that it won't come undone until you want to use it. That's how I wrap up the corner guy ropes on my basher. Let's get it rolled up, put it back in the bag. This seems the perfect place to do it. I was tagged by Funky Prepper to tell him a war story. So here in the UK we got this old saying, you know, old soldiers never die, they just fade away. Funky Prepper asked me for a war story. Well, I guess it's going to revolve around the importance of a good shovel. This is my cold steel. I still choose to carry a shovel. Maybe it's because I'm an old soldier, but I always thought they should have changed the symbol for the British infantry from the bayonet to a shovel, because every time we stopped we used to have to dig. I was an umpire on a massive NATO exercise, and I was attached to Hell on Wheels, which is an American armoured division, and I would receive information from the Central Command. They would estimate casualties, how the battles were playing out, and I would pass that information on to the units on the ground. And we stopped overnight. So like I say, I'm attached to an American armoured division, and like all good British infantry soldiers, I get out of my armoured vehicle and I find myself a little spot and I start to dig, and this American sergeant came over to me and he said, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm digging myself a shell scrape, a position I can fight from." And he burst out laughing and he said, "You are the safest man in the world. You are surrounded by an American armored division." And I said, "Yes, I know. But what am I going to do if I wake up in the morning and all you people have run away?" Needless to say, it was just a bit of inter-army banter, but I'm really attached to a good shovel. Highly unlikely you'll find me out in the field without one. A little story for Funky. It doesn't really feel like I've had a night in the woods on my own. You know, I've had text messages from Sergeant Fruitcake, from Funky Prepper, from V Wild Soul 62. Lone Wolf was here for a couple of hours when I first arrived, so it really feels like a night in the woods with my friends, really. So quite a surreal experience. It's almost like when one of us is out, we all kind of benefit from the experience. But that's my trip. I'm just going to give you the kind of 360 of the camp, just to show you the leave no trace, and then I'm off home for Sunday dinner with my beautiful girls. So we'll call it a day here. As always, any comments? Love to hear them. Back soon.